Welcome to Emotional Intelligence Simplified, the podcast that takes the mystery out of emotional intelligence and brings its power right into your daily life. In each episode, we explore the simple truths behind what it really means to be emotionally intelligent at work, at home, in relationships, and in how we lead ourselves and others. Through inspiring conversations, real-life examples, and practical tools, we'll show you how emotional intelligence can help you unlock the best version of yourself. Welcome to EI Simplified, the podcast. I am Angela Mwihaki, and today we have the pleasure of being joined again by the CEO of Profiles, Vicky. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's good to have you here.
It's always good to be here.
And I think it's important today that we get to hear from you, you know, in terms of what are the lessons and experiences. You've been doing this for a while now. Yes. I don't know how long.
Could you believe it? For 10 years. Profiles International times 10 years in March. Is it March 26th? Imagine.
Wow.
But we were so busy.
You forgot your own birthday.
I guess, yeah, as the office, looking for business, trying to serve people, we forgot. And one person in the office, we were filling out a tender, just happened to look at our registration date and was like, oh my goodness, guys, we are 10 years. So we'll celebrate next year. When we're 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that we're looking at 10 years of experience, I'm sure there have been some very interesting lessons.
Wow.
So maybe we could take a look back and just, what are the things you've learned and grown from?
So I'm going to share from a perspective of business.
Okay.
And then I'll share also from what I've learned from clients as we've gone along and we've worked together with organizations in trying to mold their cultures using the programs that we run, largely around talent, largely around our psychometric assessments, our offerings on emotional intelligence, the Genos brand, and our new entry, the digital learning solutions that we're trying to push in the market. No mean feat. But hey, when you have a new product, you have to work twice as hard.
Okay.
Yes. Good.
So where do we start? What's one of your biggest lessons? Because you do a lot of these leadership things. Yes. And encouraging and trying to make sure that people have healthy, robust teams. What's one of the biggest things about leadership?
So the first thing I think I'll start with from a personal note as well, and also from what I have experienced in entrepreneurship, and also what I have seen when we work with teams is the place of resilience. Like it's the thing.
Resilience
is more than anything, the thing that powers you through life. So in fact, just the other day, I don't know if you know Flora Mutahi of
Melvin's Mash.
She was talking about her skill mastery class. And she was saying the first topics that she starts with is resilience. Because to be an entrepreneur is to live a hard knock life.
It's a hard knock life.
Like literally a hard
literally
knock
every
life.
day you're just running.
You're innovating, it's failing, you're standing up, people are saying no, people are also saying yes. And so many things work. You're just learning people. Sometimes you're not big enough to afford the right kind of people. Or they are the right kind of people, let me not say that, but maybe the right level of experience. So you have to have the patience to grow people.
To grow your own people.
Exactly. And understand that that's what's expected. Those statements of, Kwani mjuangi, those statements have to die. So I think that has been the number one lesson. And when I look at, even as we talk to teams and their leaders, I remember one time after we had a whole day session, just talking about people. A girl was like this, just looked at me and said, Vicky, people is hard.
People is hard, I think.
People is hard.
Because we come back, we have so many things behind us that we carry.
Exactly.
Whether it is upbringing, it is stress, it's how we feel, and we're not the same. So yeah, people is very hard.
So, and I think the reason why people is hard is because you're devoted. You first you're devoted to the business. You're devoted to the organization as a leader. If you're truly in your purpose, that is. And so you have to devote yourself to people growing. You can't be indifferent. Yeah. If you're indifferent, the results are, you don't want that results impact on you as a leader, the impact on the business, it's so many things, the impact on the person. So you have to devote yourself to being present, being there for this person, and for everyone. And it's not always easy amidst everything else in your life that is going on. And you're kind of this go-to person that everyone is coming to for solutions and everything. So resilience and really learning to ensure that you're centered is very important.
So how do we work on this resilience? Because, I mean, it's a bumpy ride.
Yes. Again, I have spoken with many leaders, many individuals, many entrepreneurs, people from all walks of life. And still, these things stand out to me. One of the things that I find is very fundamental is people are anchored in some form of spiritual ritual, whether that's prayer, whether that's meditation.
Right.
That's one thing I found across all the dots.
Because you need a fallback plan.
Really effective people, yeah. They have strong faith, or they practice meditations and things like that.
So you need something to ground you.
You need something to ground you.
Right.
Another thing I have found, not for all leaders, but for most, is the place for moving your body. A strong body supports your resilience as well. And it has differed from different people. I mean, some are like, all out. Others are, they take walks regularly, but they do acknowledge the place of ensuring that your body is fit to be able to perform the role that you've been called to perform. So those are some, and then there are many other
exercise,
things.
It's swimming like you, or hiking like you. You do a lot of hiking.
They also have, leaders also end up having, the ones that I've seen that are effective, passions that they chase away from their work. They have that one thing that removes them totally from their work.
They paint, they drive.
They hike.
They golf.
They have they have something.
They have a passion for something else.
Yes.
I don't call it a hobby.
That moves them.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are many things I could share, but I mean, all of them have certain rituals that they have developed around growing their resilience. They also have a group of people, a support system.
I think that's very important.
It's very important. And they know who the support system is. They actually are intentional about creating relationships with this support system. So, for example, like I have a friend of mine, Patricia. She's very intentional. She's always going to lunch, doing this with the people around her that she calls her support system. And I find that very admirable. And I mean, it's a two-way street. You have to give to your friends. They have to give to you.
So you have to commit to that relationship and that support system. Be there for them.
And they have to be there for you. So those are some of the things, the threads I think I have found observing people. But yes, it has stood out to me that first we have to learn to build our resilience. And building your resilience is not about testing your breaking point. It is about every single day, what habit do you employ that fills you up? Because the world is going to knock you anyway.
True.
And everyone has a plan until they get hit. So resilience is just how much are you able to do for yourself. Now there's also the self-care, to keep feeling yourself. So your bandwidth is there for when the things are getting hard. And that's one thing. It's a habit. It's a daily habit.
To sustain you so that you're not running on empty.
Think of it like a runner. When they only run like once, that run or
the
that
big,
marathon.
Yeah, the marathons, but they run every day. They practice.
They're putting something to build that resilience. Yeah. So that's been my lesson number one.
And that's a big one. So we have to start with every day. You build up so that you're not running on E.
Yes.
You have to buffer it.
And you also have to learn to say no. So the place of boundaries is important because you say no to something so you can say yes to something else.
So you have to get your priorities right.
You have to get your priorities right, yes.
And find out. And actually it says there's a lot of reflection involved. So you have to sit down and look at what is really most important and what you'll do for those.
Yes.
And then now still at the same time build your support system. So be there for your people.
Yes.
So, okay. So set your priorities right. And that sounds like you also have to have a lot of time to sit back and reflect on your own.
Yes. Some people journal a lot, reflect. Others, have one-on-ones. So, yeah.
So basically, it's the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail, is the truth.
Yes.
You have to sit down every day and have a plan
of how you're going to build your resilience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. So I think we have written those notes. Resilience noted.
Yes.
Support system still comes within the resilience, and also being focused and creating boundaries.
Yes.
So that was lesson number 1. Lesson number 2.
Lesson number 2 was very interesting, and it was one time. It had never become apparent to me, but I'm speaking to this gentleman. He leads an airline, and he told me, Vicky, leadership is about chaos. It's about looking at all the chaos and making a plan out of that. And I was like, that penny dropped. Ding! I was like, what? I have never thought of it like that. There's just so many moving parts and everything. And what you're trying to do is always make sense,
of the mess.
Where this is where we're going, this is where we're doing this. And then he said, and that is why, for me, the more centered and the more calm I am, the better the decisions I make.
Makes sense.
So think about it, yeah. So, there are always very many set of variables that you have to look at and to engage in, not to mention the people variable, eh?
Which is yes.
You have people, and you have what people are doing, and then you have the other things, the business, their expectations,
the goals,
their KPIs,
the deliverables,
exactly.
Everything else.
You have all those things, yeah. And every single day, you're supposed to be making sense of everything that's happening. Today you wake up, this has happened. Tomorrow you wake up, this has happened. The other day you wake up, so and so has happened. So every single day, you're guiding people. You're helping them problem solve, because you're not problem solving for them, but you're helping them problem solve. So the more centered you are,
and calm,
and the more calm you are, the better the decisions that you make. So you cannot afford, I think it still goes back to resilience, but you cannot afford to, keep reacting. So here you react, there you react, another place you react. You can't. So
you have to respond. You have to be in your
and you can only respond
to be able to process it.
Yes. So that was another lesson. It was learned not long ago, but I felt it was. I'd never quite thought about it that way. Maybe I'd never read the right books, but it is from chaos to something that works. Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, because also if you're calm, you're also that spreads to everyone else.
Yes.
But if it's in a panicky state and we're all panicky, it gets worse.
And everyone is watching you.
Yeah. And then
everyone is watching you.
Yeah.
Everyone is looking at you. Everyone is confident that
everyone expects you to lead.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone expects you to lead. So that was my second lesson. Another lesson, I think, that also occurs often, and I'm just wondering whether, I don't know, it's not really like rocket science, but it's always an aha moment for new managers.
Okay.
And it is teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes, it has to be teamwork, but people don't understand how team works.
Exactly. So I don't know how to phrase this, but you can imagine that statement being an aha moment. We all know teamwork makes the dream work. And I think because for a long time, you are contributing yourself through your expertise, through your technical knowledge, and you rely on collaborating with others, but the end result, someone else owns it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you're used to that cocoon. And so when you promoted or you start supervising other people, you kind of move along with that mentality. And so some of the habits you might pick, I don't know, are things like working with people who work a lot like you, or maybe thinking that others are not putting in as much as you are. So not really harnessing the power of teamwork, not really trying
to put everyone to good use.
Exactly. To push or to kind of drive the enthusiasm that is required, because you need to wake up and you need to be like DD Jakes for your team. You need to be that person who just walks in there, and they feel, yeah, we can do this. So there are certain behaviors or habits that you need to start picking up quickly that drive teamwork.
Okay.
And so, as much as they are difficult, the minute you start practicing them, you start seeing the dream working. Yeah. So it's the aha moment is in that, okay, first and foremost, we've learned this set of skills that allows us to connect better with people, that helps us build stronger relationships with others, that helps us ask better questions. So, for example, instead of being blunt about something, rephrasing it and then asking it in another manner so that I don't end up making the other person feel judged or whatever it is. And so those habits that we learn are meant to
help us be better at what we do.
At creating teamwork. And then once you do that, then it works. And you're like, oh my God, this is not rocket science. Yet it is.
But sometimes they say the most obvious things are the ones that are not obvious.
Yes. And we have comments like, once I was able to see the diversity in my team and just be able to understand that each and every person is different and to stop labeling them, because we label people, and just basically to change myself. So part of growing into leadership is to understand that you have to be agile. You're the one who has to be agile. You're the one who has to adjust your style.
To suit you. No, it's you to change.
You adjust your style because every single person is different. You're one. So you're dealing with 10 different personalities. They're dealing with one. So all of them will not respond to you in the same way.
True.
So understanding that, and one of the things I can quote is understanding the different personalities and the diversity in my team, even before we go to, male and female, and what they bring to the table, and then understanding how to now work towards motivating them, building them and being part of who they are, yeah? And then now seeing that translate into actual business results. Because at first you're like, this thing. That aha moments always gets me. All the
teamwork
time.
Does make the dream work, but you have to work on that.
On the teamwork.
Understand your people. So it's not them to adjust to you, it's you to adjust to them.
Yes. A lot of the time. Which goes back to that thing of people is work.
People is work. People is hard.
People is hard. People is hard. People are hard. People are hard. So yeah, I don't know. Those are some of the ones that I have learned.
There's one I know we have not talked about, and I want us to talk about it. Obedience.
Yes. Now this is a big one. So yeah, one of our friends challenged me and said, Vicky, you talk about leadership. But what about followership? Mm-hmm. What about being a good team member? Yeah. Not necessarily a team leader. And this is very interesting because I think for you to first be a good team leader, you must first have been a good team member. You must first have been, in fact, I don't know who coined this phrase. You cannot lead if you cannot obey. If you haven't learned obedience, it's very difficult to be a leader.
That's a new angle. So you first have to be able to obey to lead.
To lead.
What do we mean by that?
Tell me, what do you mean by that? You have to first be able to obey
so as to lead.
And I know when we think about obey, you're thinking, oh my God, you have to be that person who just says yes to everything.
Yes.
I think you must understand the value of buying into things. Yeah. Of for example, of if me and you sit here and we decide that's the way we are going, that I will fully support you as a team follower. And I will listen to you when you give directive. Yeah. And I will voice my opinion on I think we're not going the right way as I should.
But it does not mean that it has to be my way.
Yes, and when I say I will follow, I follow. It is in support of you, and it is in support of the overall objective that we're doing. So recognizing that I am a team member and that, I'm not going to put my hands in the pocket and decide I'm doing nothing about it, pocket veto, quiet quitting. So I think the very things that you practice of acknowledging that we have a leader in the room and then doing all that you can to support them, doing all that you can to also enable the team to be able to support the initiatives that you're doing or even support the leader, you make a good leader.
This is Emotional Intelligence Simplified, the podcast. Follow us on our social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and X at EI Simplified. You can also join our WhatsApp channel. We'd like to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Profiles, the people experts. Profiles helps individuals and organizations unlock their potential through emotional intelligence assessments, personalized coaching and team training, and culture transformation and leadership tools. You can check them out at www.profiles.co.ke, and you can call them on 0722 457777. Let's get back to the podcast. True.
Yeah.
So are we good? Do we obey? Are we obedient people? Even currently?
I don't know. I think that's a question to the audience.
I'm also asking myself, are we obedient? Am I obedient? Or is it always I'm rethinking and seeing how this could change? Food for thought.
Yeah. And so sometimes even how that translates is I find that the guys we work with and the girls we work with, so that I am being gender sensitive, the ones that I find have built really effective teams. This is from observation, by the way, there's no written research. They are in their team.
They are in it, kabisa.
Yes. So I remember we ran a training just the other day, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And the leader, the overall leader, the CEO came for the training and he left his phone in his office.
Wow.
And he locked it in the drawer and he said, and he was up and said, I know I get multiple calls a day, but I'm not
present.
Good. Yes,
I'm
here
present today.
That is followership. We've all decided we need a training on this because it will help us do this. I am here. I am present. I am going to do what human resource tells me to do. I'm going to listen to the facilitator. The facilitator says we move left, we move left, we move right, we move right. And you'll see even the love that the people around him have for this person, and it's present. And we had the most candid, vulnerable conversations at that particular point, and everyone would, in the beginning of there's that
shyness, you're not sure,
but at the end guys are like, now we really understand where you're coming from, what you're doing. So that is followership, and I've seen it not once, not twice, and those are the most fun teams to work with because they're trying. They understand that these things don't come just like that. You have to nurture them like a good relationship. You have to be intentional about them. You have to keep putting things in place that keep reminding us of that conversation, And when certain things start to creep in that threaten that cohesion, then we can see it and also address it. Yeah. So without that continuous, always pushing and saying, what else can we do for our teams? What else can we do for our teams? Vicky, what else can we do? Then we allow these things to creep in that bring the wedges behind our teams. So you'll find sometimes, again, the opposite is true, where I'll have leaders who come and give the keynote address
and leave
for 5 minutes. And I say it's okay. But it also sends a message that you are you.
And I am here.
And we are us.
So it's not a team.
Yeah. So I would argue that part of that adage of, that I was saying, I don't know who said it, by the way. It's true.
You have to be able to obey, to lead.
Yes.
And it makes a lot of sense because also then we see your commitment to it.
Exactly. Yeah. How else will you even learn?
How will you even know your people?
So the other day, we go into a course by Mary about AI and how it's and how to help how executives can harness the power of AI, of course, to make the everyday life easier. So we are sharing all these tools, how to do prompts, effective prompts, how to look at your processes, even my processes on a day-to-day, and see which ones can I automate. It was a very good program, and I think it really helped a lot of us just remove some of the mundane work that we do. But who was teaching us? We had, one woman teaching us, but the rest were young people saying, move this, do this, create this, no, you're in the wrong place, install this, yes, don't remove that. That's actually what meant to be there.
The Gen Zs and the millennials are the ones with the solutions now.
Where is
How
it?
did I get there?
I can't see it. What are you telling me to press? I can't see. Where? Oh, it was this one. As if you can't see. So Yeah, so you have to accept to be
guided and to be taught.
guided and to be
True.
taught. So after that, we were so happy. We're like, okay, fine. We left there with a lot of information. One of the questions we were asking is, are information safe? You know, we belong.
Of course, now data protection.
the
We're being
generation.
told everything can be taken. Yeah, some of us are exas, so
Yes.
everything is panic mode. Are we
Exactly.
safe?
Yeah. So yeah, but they were like, in fact, they were telling us, guys, your data is already out there. Sorry.
Yeah,
As in, even no matter how much you're trying to hide,
It's
is
there.
It is out there.
Every
So
time you write your email and your phone number,
it's
walking
the
into a
last
building.
thing. Yeah, and it's such an interesting way to look at it. And I saw the sense in that, because they said it's already out there in one form or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're allowing that to stop us from utilizing a tool that will make our lives more efficient.
I think it's the fear of the unknown also. You see, for them,
Yes.
it's natural.
It's a fear.
All these things came after. So we have to unlearn to relearn.
It's the fear.
It's the fear of the
It's the
unknown.
fear,
I think
yes.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I like that, because it's true. I mean, these days, wisdom is coming from the younger ones. They're the ones who are adapting and adopting and creating the technology, because they
So,
want to
yeah.
make life easier. So we have to be able to listen.
Yeah.
I love that. So there's wisdom everywhere. Everybody can teach.
Everybody can teach. So yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm learning. The one thing I learned much earlier on, which is validated every single time we run our sessions, is that leadership is not taught enough. Management is not taught enough as a skill. It's not. It's like even just being a good follower or a good team member is not taught enough.
No, we don't learn. People expect. I don't know that it's supposed to be organic. Because think about
Exactly.
it, you will give promotions, but you don't build the capacity of this person.
Yes.
So fine, I've moved from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, but am I getting the skills required for those levels?
Yes. So yeah. So it is as if it's meant to be, we're meant to get it from here, get it from there. Then no wonder we even lose the best people, because the best people teach themselves, they grow themselves, and they learn and they move to the next place. But it is an underserved.
So
Yes.
people also need to learn that they need to get training for leadership.
Exactly.
If you really are aiming for the top suit, you need to work on it from the beginning. And it's not just getting the MBAs and the academic qualifications. You have to work on your skills.
You have to work on your skills, and you have to, even for small businesses, don't assume people know what they're meant to be doing. Yeah, that's another assumption we make, and then we get a little bit upset that they're not following what is meant to, the way it's meant to go. So don't assume. The place of training, that's why we go to school. And that's why we had mentors. That's why we had apprenticeship. Yeah. And this, you come onto the job, it's assumed you'll know. Be intentional. This is what you're meant to do. Let's take you step by step. If you know this, fine, let's move on. But if you don't know this, let's keep learning. Let's keep planning. Let's build in. The other day, I like using the other day so much, but there was a post by a lady called Mary Kinywa, and she put there, I can't remember what the post was about, but she says, build in learning loss. And
Build in learning loss.
Build in learning loss. So whenever you're designing, like your performance management, or just basically training, build in that there will be time lost, there will be resources lost, there might even be
factor
clients.
them in.
Factor them in. So, and that is learning loss, and it should be okay, because as we are learning, we make mistakes, and
True.
in any case, that learning loss will still happen whether you factor it in or not. So understanding that, for example, you're onboarding someone and they need about 3 months to get
into the
per.
run of things.
Building
so
learning
factor
loss.
that in.
Yeah, that there's, and not only are they going to maybe sometimes require more time, but there are certain things that are going to go wrong, and
Even the
that's
deliverables
okay.
will take a while.
Because if you don't do that, then your mindset is that everything should be okay. And once you think everything should be okay, then you have no place for failure.
Yet
So
it's
people
a
end up
reality.
getting so stressed. They can't speak up when something is wrong. They feel judged all the time. This thing we're calling psychological safety is not there anymore. So I think it was a pretty good way of coining the fact that allow people the chance to fail. Of course, to certain sets and boundaries, but yeah, it's going to happen.
And also that's how you find solutions and get better at what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, but that also says, you're also saying something here that as entrepreneurs, also, if you're running a business, don't assume the people you are recruiting know what it is you want.
Yes.
So you have to start factoring in, training your different areas, whether it is finance, it is sales, it is who. You have to capacity build in them to see your vision.
Yes.
Which is something that one clearly we don't do.
Yes. We don't.
We just recruit people and tell them we're going to Mombasa. We're not telling them whether it's by train or by bus or by what.
In fact, better we tell them we are going.
We're not even saying where.
No, we're going.
So that's food for thought. Are we really expressing and sharing our?
We are going.
Are we giving directions?
We're going.
And we haven't said how or where?
No, but we're going. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
It's an interesting one. So anyway.
And very true, unfortunately.
I think because we live in our heads, our solutions are in our heads, and sometimes we feel like I don't know.
No one can mind read, but I get what you're saying. Sometimes you've sorted it out in your head, you just don't know how to convey it. And it's harder because you're the dream bearer.
Yes.
So if you can't express it, or like in life, we develop expectations from the people around us and our different relationships.
Yes.
But we don't say it.
Yes.
And then after that, we're disappointed.
Yes.
And we are sad and we are upset.
Yes.
But nobody knew.
Nobody knew what sadness looked like. Nobody knew what
the
disappointment
expectations
looked like.
that you had or what you wanted.
Yeah. And it's true. One of the other things now I have also come, now that we've been talking about this, some of the lessons are coming to mind, is about communication.
Communication is key.
Yes. But I think before even I started teaching and training around all these people's skills, I wasn't aware of how big communication is or how vital it is for you as a leader. I think they say, and I share this in most of the classes I run, you cannot influence if you cannot communicate. And here is the thing, and another aha moment, even for me and for others as we go through the sessions, is that the fallacy of communication is that it has already happened. So I come and I give you a set of instructions because I have spoken to you and given you those set of instructions. I assume we've communicated and I leave. But most of the time, even the tone of voice that I used, even the behavior that I use. In fact, the model of communication, and I think Derek Banga does a very good way of showing this. Only 7% are words.
The rest is in
body
emotions,
language,
body
tone
language,
of voice,
tone,
facial expressions. So sometimes you come at me and you are very aggressive.
So I'm overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed and I'm just trying to kind of protect myself from you. So even when you finish and I haven't understood a thing, I can't tell you that I haven't understood a thing. So communication has not happened because I haven't been able to voice back to you that I haven't understood a thing. Because communication is
two-way.
It's two ways.
It has to be for it to work.
It has to be two ways.
Yeah.
So that has died.
So nothing happened.
So there was no communication. So, but when you come back to me and you expect some miracle, then you end up now, saying, don't you understand?
Didn't you listen?
Didn't you listen? You end up also being disappointed that it didn't really work out. But it's a two-way street. So then you start understanding that the person giving the message actually has the responsibility
to get the message driven across effectively.
That it has been received.
So how do they do that?
How do you do that? So that's when you start realizing your personality plays a big role in how people understand your message, your facial expressions, and how then do you begin to become aware of them so that you're also using them and they're not working against you. When you're doing this thing we're calling communicating. They're not blocking real communication by allowing it only to be one way. They're encouraging feedback also to the feedback loop to come through.
So to see we are exactly what is being
so that
conveyed.
We can arrive at a common understanding of what was actually said.
And I think a lot of us are guilty of not communicating effectively.
I'm guilty as
That one,
charged.
yeah.
Completely. There are sometimes I leave the office and I'm like, yeah, I'll be back. Chelsea. Then shoo. Everyone has been left. I'm trying now. Liz is looking. I'm just like, oh my goodness. And the following morning, I'm like, okay, now let's go through this one by one. Yeah. But I think that was a big learning for me. And I think it also always is a big learning.
It is for all of us, because when I think back, it's true.
Yeah.
How
It's
do
one
the
of the
people
biggest
perceive
lessons.
you? Do they really understand? Do they feel confident enough to tell you, I don't understand?
And that's why you see great statesmen, and this is political, they go to communication schools. They go and
They are
get
taught.
professionals. You're taught the words to say, what to use, because those could be misconstrued to mean something else and cause something totally different that you didn't want, or offend a group of people that you
But you
didn't
had
mean.
no plan to.
And then even when you offend them, what do you do? What do you say? And then we say, that was a great leader. That person, that one. That was a great leader. They made mistakes, of course, they're human beings. But they have learned the art of communication and of influence.
That's what it is, an art.
It's
It has
an
to
art.
be worked on.
Yes,
So you have
it's
to
an art.
perfect it.
Yeah. So some of these basic things, I think, even for organizations, they're not very big things that you can't give everyone. For example, give your front-facing staff, courses in communication. Let them know, teach them.
Because that's the first point of
Reinforce it
contact.
over and
Yeah.
over again. When someone communicates, how do you communicate back to them? How is your personality going to respond to this kind of thing? And in that personality, what is going to be a plus, what's going to be a minus, and how do you mitigate against the things that are challenging of what your personality brings? How do you communicate to your teammates? How do you become a better team member? Yeah. What are the boundaries in teams? Have you set any ground rules? Yeah. When it
Because I
comes
think
to
ground rules,
communication.
we have to have a system.
Exactly.
Because
So
also, I think even from what you're saying, different departments communicate differently. How accountants think is not how salespeople think.
Yeah.
So even the way of communicating is different.
It's
so there has to
different.
be some guidelines so that we all
Yeah.
see the same thing.
yeah, and another one that's become apparent to me right now, because I'm just going through and I'm remembering conversations I've had, is a place of boundaries. I remember having this discussion with a team. They called me and they were just having some team dynamic issues. And one of the things that was very clear is that they did not have defined boundaries, first, of how they relate with each other, and even how that team relates with the rest,
With the other teams.
with the other teams. And so because of that, then there was a lot of crossing, boundaries from each other and everything. So I started in the beginning and said, resilience is very important. And it's
And in
become
resilience, you
very
need your own
important.
boundaries.
In resilience, you create your own boundaries.
Right.
Because they help you stay resilient, yeah. Even in teams, team resilient is very important. When teams are stressed, that's when they start reacting to every message. They don't remain centered. Yeah, I always give the example. You find two people at the printing station fighting over a stapler. You're like, really? Stapler? Like World War III is a stapler? Yeah.
But it's not the stapler. That's just a symptom.
It's a symptom.
Yeah.
It's a symptom of burnout, of stress. People are no longer able to think things through. They're just like, liwe, lisiwe, whatever. So even for teams, do you have those boundaries together that allow you to... Because you see, teams have to fight. In fact, it is said that teams that don't fight, and I use fight, they don't debate and talk and have discussions and nice teas and things like that. Effective teams fight. They fight for what they want. Sometimes it can get very heated. And you've seen it in like teams that need to be effective, like in in the dramas that we see for legal, or in hospitals where lives are concerned, teams fight
It's a
because they're
fight.
like, it's a life we're saving here. And in very effective teams fight. And they fight fair, but they fight. They don't withhold. They
have to be able to let it all out.
Because the end of what matters is the goal. What are we achieving? So we want to look for the best possible way to achieve
solve
what we're
this
doing.
problem,
To solve
yeah.
this problem.
Right.
But then there has to be ground rules also around how do we fight. And so teams that set boundaries,
boundaries.
they set ground rules, they around maybe conflict or even around themselves. A boundary is something even like every once a month we will have an informal coffee, or we're going to meet somewhere and just have fun and remove the stress from this team and go back. Every month we're going to have a training together, or we're going to listen to a speaker together.
Yes,
all of us. Yeah. At meetings, everyone should share. Everyone should have done these things. Those things actually strengthen teams. And the more that people can gel in and push for those, the more effective teams will be.
So I think the biggest thing so far we've talked about is resilience. We've talked about being a good follower to be able to lead.
Yeah.
Boundaries has come out so many times.
Boundaries. Let me tell you, I even say, even in marriage, everywhere, we don't set, even in parenting.
Everything.
And I think it's because we are not aware of how important they are. Like, I was never aware of how important setting my boundaries was. I didn't even,
we didn't know there were boundaries.
I didn't even know there were, boundaries were things that existed between countries.
Oh, well, and walls, compounds, a wall here and there.
No, mine were for countries. I didn't even realize a wall was a boundary at that time. I just knew that we had boundaries.
Kenya, Uganda.
Exactly. So now this whole thing of coming to learn that, yes, and I think in our culture we had very clear boundaries.
There were
women had clear boundaries around them
and roles,
and so the society functioned.
The
as
youth
one.
had certain, the men had certain. Yeah, but. Yeah. With the
but I don't think we call them
things,
boundaries.
There were other
then the
traditions and culture,
went and they came back and they
confused us.
No, they came and told us actually these things are called
bad.
Boundaries.
Oh, the ones who told us they're called boundaries.
I mean, they're the ones I read the literature and I'm like, this was literature. This is so this is a boundary. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. But they I mean, now later on, then I'm like, actually, these things I should have learned when I was like 18.
No, you learned them quietly in little things. We just didn't know. Mm-hmm. Through the grandparents and things. You know how you're told, yeah, because they were here you do this, there you do that. It's just now they have better words for them. Mm. So, well, we took about 10 years of interesting lessons learned.
Yeah, and I've just gotten started. I have many others. Some of them I can't share here. I just... either too random, the stories are too hilarious. Maybe
those are the best.
We'll do the funny ones.
We'll look at the funny ones.
Yes.
And then we'll also do maybe some of the hardest ones. Some things that shook you up, then almost changed your foundation. Because sometimes, like we're saying, how you think of life and then what it truly is. And you realize it's bigger than, what's bigger than an aha moment? Like an earthquake. When something shakes you up and you're shaken, not stirred. And you're like, wait. I wish I knew this 10 years ago.
Okay. Those ones are also quite a few.
So we'll definitely do this. So you have to keep it locked. You are on EI Simplified. I am Angela Mwihaki, and we had with us CEO of Profiles, Vicky Karuga. Thanks for watching Emotional Intelligence Simplified. Let us know what you thought of this episode and what you'd love to hear next. Message us on our social media platforms at EI Simplified. We'd love to hear from you.